We're sitting inside the iconic SCG. This must evoke just so many different memories.
Hasn't changed one bit. All of a sudden I was 100, I was 200, I think I was 240, had to come off and then go back on the next day. And then when we sort of ended that day, day two, everything become about, okay, how many runs are we on? How many runs do we need? How much time do we need to try and bowl in or out?
Because we want to win.
We're only playing to win. You know what I love that we do, that I used to love it every year playing here, was the McGrath Day. When you walk out to bat or field and you turn around and see the whole stadium pink on your shirt, I think it's the most special day of the year.
Well, a very special episode of Beyond 23 coming your way at the moment. It looks a little different, and that is because we're sitting inside the iconic SCG dressing rooms. We're in the lunchroom. Where the players would sit is just to my left. The actual dressing rooms are on my right. This is so incredibly special. Michael Clarke, obviously, alongside me. Feelings being back here. This must evoke just so many different memories.
Hasn't changed one bit. And that's one of the things that makes, I think, this ground so special, the SCG. It's got so much tradition and history. You go to just about every ground around Australia and it's all had a refurb. You know, stadiums changed, seating's changed, inside change rooms have changed. Not here. As you can see, the colour of the table, the old chairs.
It just smells...
Yeah.
Like heritage, old,
heritage,
yes.
Heritage
but
is the
heritage
right
is a nice
word.
way of saying old.
It is,
but, But the history here, to think that I'm sitting in the same seat that so many legends have come by before, it actually gives me chills. I feel like I shouldn't be here. And I feel like as a punter, as a friend, as a fan of the game for so long, you don't get to see.
Well, it's
these
sacred.
Parts of the game.
It's one of the things that I think cricket has found quite difficult to allow cameras to get closer, particularly come inside a change room, has been a tough transition. We see our change room as, that place that's earned. The cameras, if you watch during the test match or an Aussie game, they'll come into this room where we're sitting, but they very rarely get inside to where the players sit. And get ready for the day's play. But look, it is special. Even the boards that are around when you've got guys that have taken 5-wicket hauls or made hundreds. Of course, brings back beautiful memories. And it is, I think, part of playing for your state or any team really. Your home ground is so special, but when you get to state cricket, because you know the players that have come before you, and then international cricket, exactly the same. It makes it extra more special.
The history of this game, I think, is what is truly beautiful about the game of cricket. We have so much to talk about, particularly memories and feelings that are evoked in you being back here. But just before we get into that, of course, we have announced our Ashes live tour. The special guests, you've been on radio, you've been in the papers, you've been pumping this out to everyone. But tell us, we can now announce our illustrious guests.
Yeah, we're lucky. We've got some great friends, some absolute superstar cricketers coming on as well, but some other athletes as well. There might be a few little extra treats along the way, but we start in Sydney where we get young Josh Philippe, who's obviously just played obviously now playing for New South Wales, played in Australia A, now coming into that Australian scene as well, and really has made the most of his opportunity. Brilliant wicketkeeper, brilliant batsman, and I think you're going to see him play a lot more cricket for Australia moving forward. So he'll be on. The great Laurie Daley, New South Wales State of Origin coach. If he's not the greatest Origin player, he's certainly in the conversation, in my opinion.
Or maybe for a Blue supporter. I'm obviously a Queenslander over this way, so I've got a few other ideas.
Well,
but there's no denying he is iconic.
That's when you know you're one of the greats, when opposition talk about how good you are.
I will pay that.
The Queenslanders do that. So I can't wait to have Loz on. I did breakfast radio with him for 5 years. So it's going to be great to have him alongside us as well. So they'll be Sydney. We go to Brisbane. We got Ben Cutting, who would have thought? Your husband will be right there. I can't wait for some of his stories, and I'm not talking about cricket.
Oh, I can't wait because he refuses to talk cricket with me.
Wow.
He's one of those guys that there's zero ego on him.
Yeah.
So actually getting him to talk about A, himself, or B, about cricket or anything he did in the game,
yeah.
He won't speak to me. So I love it. You're going to be there.
Drag it
you
out
will.
of it.
Well, he loves and respects you so much. Like you
know what though? A lot of people talk or ask me about where the game's at these days, and I don't think we'll get a better insight from anyone more so than Ben because he's played. He's played the 2020 junket. He obviously played a lot for Queensland. Exactly right.
To jump on
so
that.
He's travelled the world and he knows what cricket's like and what's happening in all the countries around the world. So I think he'll give us a great insight. And then alongside him, we've got the great Damien Martyn.
Legend.
Now, Marto was probably the most talented batsman I ever played with. I think Marto's one of those players that was underrated as a player. He never talks to the media. He never does podcasts. So to be able to have him up in Queensland, in Brisbane, will be awesome. So I think those two together will be very special. We go to Adelaide, and then we've got a good friend of mine in Brad Haddon. Hads was probably the one guy growing up when I started playing for New South Wales that we become really good friends from a young age. So he was there through all the highs, all the lows. Great friend, was my vice captain for a long period of time and someone I really respect. So to have Brad on, I think will be awesome. So he'll come to Adelaide. And then we'll finish back in Sydney with another good friend of mine. And again, a veteran of a player, a very successful Australian coach, in Justin Langer.
Oh, JL.
Langer's a star.
How good.
Yeah, and again, you talk about Ash's experience. He was a brilliant opening batsman, scored a lot of runs against England. So to be able to finish with him New Year's Test and have JL will be fantastic. But I think we've got, like I say, we've got a great crew of cricket experience. We get Loz there for something else, something outside of that. And I'm keen to talk to Loz a little bit about his state of origin experience, obviously losing that series, how that preparation went, what he does for next season as well. And then, like I say, I'm certain there'll be a few extra guests as well. Like I say, I'm keen to talk to a few of the current 11 the night before a test match or the morning of the test match, what they are doing in the lead up to walking out onto that field. So I've been lucky enough for a few of my friends that are currently playing that have said yes. So I hope everybody comes along and is entertained.
Yeah, please come and join us. Monty Panesar, of course, flying the flag for England, will join us. He is an absolute larrikin. We love what he brings. It's going to be a lot of fun. So tickets are available. Jump on the website, get involved. Don't miss it because, again, it's candid, it's unfiltered. You're going to get stuff on there that you don't even get here.
Well, there's no rules.
There are no rules. There are no rules. And you've got to be there to hear it in person and, of course, come along and meet us in our meet and greet if you get your hands on a VIP ticket. So lots to love there. But just before we dive into some just incredible SCG memories, state of play at the moment, India had a very good night as we go to record this episode. Yes, they beat Australia. We're now 1-1 in the T20s and the girls win their first ever Cricket World Cup, and they do it in Mumbai in front of a home crowd. I mean, if you're an Indian fan, obviously cricket's been going pretty bloody well for you all for a while now, but you know, what a night. And starting with the girls, what a win for them. I don't think anyone, given how well Australia was going, thought they were going to be able to get the job done. No,
well, I certainly didn't. I said Australia were unbeatable, so I got that wrong. What a run chase. Phenomenal. Unbelievable game of cricket. India were exceptional. I thought Australia, the wicket was an absolute belter, but I thought Australia to make that many runs, it was an unlosable game.
Well, they had to beat the record to get the job done, India.
Australia's fielding, some of the bowling, I think they actually made those runs and thought, game over, we won the game. Remember, India weren't in the best of form either. They were a little bit mixed in regards to they played. They had some brilliant games, but then some disappointing results as well. So it's another example when you get to major semi-finals and finals, maximum pressure, a World Cup campaign, anything can happen. The key is to qualify, and they did that so well, India. And when they got there, after beating Australia, you couldn't see them losing the final. Just so confident in their own ability, knowing no matter what situation we get in, we can win this game. So huge congratulations to them.
Yeah, absolute scenes. Harmanpreet Kaur took an absolute screamer. Inside the ring, a beautiful catch, and just the way it ended, the fireworks are going off, everyone's losing their marbles. Jay Shah has the biggest smile on his face, and you know they did something that hadn't been done before, and I really hope it further reignites this passion for women's cricket in India. We've already seen WPL.
It's exactly right. The women's IPL is growing. I think they'll continue to add teams to that as well. I think the other thing as well, it's that the cricket domination, at the moment. Men's World Cup, India, they're always talking about how important that is, and you talk to the players, and we put, I guess, Test cricket on a pedestal. I'm sure Indian players want to play Test cricket, but they see World Cup cricket just as important as that. So, everything goes into them wanting to win World Cups. The women now beating Australia and South Africa and winning that World Cup. And like you say, in the current T20s, 1-1. Again, you look at the way that's gone as well. Australia would...
Down at Ninja Stadium, it was like a pretty chilly night in Hobart, strong breeze, but some epic cricket from both sides. Tim David hit the largest six I think I've ever seen.
See, I don't think that's true. I think it's the largest six recorded.
Also true.
I've seen a six. I've seen Brett Lee hit, I can't remember who the bowler was, out of the stadium at the Gabba and landed on the nets out the back. Now, you can't measure that.
Because it's you stop measuring once you hit the end of the stadium, right? That's the problem. They can't tell how much further it travels.
I'm sure that you can't tell if it's bouncing down the street. We could not believe how far Brett Lee hit this ball. So it was huge. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Tim David's a big, strong boy as well. But it's the biggest six that's been registered. But I don't necessarily think it's the biggest six. The other big one I saw that wasn't registered because we didn't do it at the time. Chris Gale hit Nathan Horrocks onto the roof.
Unsurprising
at the
that
Wacker,
it's Gale.
At the Wacker. That was massive as well. So those two are probably the biggest two I've seen.
I've got one. I'm very biased, but IPL final 2016.
Yes.
Ben hits one out of Chinnaswamy Stadium, goes bye ball, and honest to God, whoever was in a tuk-tuk outside that stadium, I hope he's okay because it was 117 metres when it left the stadium, but God knows where it actually ended up. Yeah. It was a good piece of batting from Benny.
I'm not sure why I'd be disagreeing. Tim David is huge, and you speak to any of the current players, and we've had some massive hitters at cricket ball. Like Watto was a big, strong man. He could hit a long ball. Aaron Finch, big sixes. But all the boys reckon
Brad Hodges got the seat at Marvel as well, the red seat. So, look, some big sixes. He was the difference. If Tim David hadn't done what he'd done in that game, Australia would have been in a lot of trouble. Lost Travis Head early, then Josh Inglis followed not long after.
India's a different team with Bumrah. Yes. I think that's the other thing we're seeing. Look, they haven't played that much cricket, this Indian T20 team together, so it takes a little bit of time to get used to Australian conditions. But I just feel when Bumrah is playing, they're a different team, and that's what I think they missed in the one-day series. If they had Bumrah and Hardik Pandya, I think the one-day series is different. I'm not saying Australia doesn't win, but I think it's a very different series. And seeing him bowl in these T20s, Bumrah's just...
He's so good.
He's one of a kind. He's so actually good. That good. Like to be an individual player and to be able to be so defining in a win or a loss, I think shows how good a player he is.
And he wasn't even, the leading pole taker in that game. The spinners were the ones that really caused the damage. But like you said, the boost in momentum, in confidence, what he brings to the Indian side is unparalleled. And, we now, after a while, and I can't believe it, if this ends up being 3-1 to India with a washout, I swear to God.
You get some right,
when you're right.
Wrong.
But we are one washout, Big Monica.
Yeah.
We're now 1-1, heading into the next match at the Gold Coast, dropping wicket at Metricon Stadium. Never really know what you're going to get in terms and conditions. Finishing off at the Gabba. It's going to be a really interesting rest of the T20 series.
It's going to be good now that both teams have won a game. Particularly India getting that win, I think that does their confidence the world of good. But Australia will need to find ways. Like that's the other thing. I think obviously playing at the Gabba suits Australia's style probably more so than the Gold Coast. I think the wicket will be a little bit slower there. Interesting to see if Australia make any changes. I see Travis Head's going back. It's been announced today he's gone back to play the Shield game as well. Yeah. So again, trying to get that balance where I know the Aussies will want to try and win the series, but prioritising the Ashes. So
maybe
it's a hard balance.
Back to opening. I know he likes doing it in T20s. Have to play around with their batting order.
Well, I think even Mitch the other day, it's very different starting your innings against spin.
Yeah.
Particularly when you've got bowlers that can spin the ball both ways. So I think he'd be more comfortable facing the quicks at the top of the order. But yeah, let's wait and see what they do. But at the moment, series is in a good place for entertainment and for us fans. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. But look, it would be amiss of me to not bring it back to these hallowed grounds that we're at right now, the SCG, like absolutely iconic for cricket fans, and a venue that plays a really special place in your heart for so many reasons. Some of your best moments have been here. Some of your worst moments have been here in terms of the people that we've lost at this ground. Yeah. Of course, mentioning Phil Hughes there, but I wanted to start with the positive because 329 red ink.
Wow.
You made it this ground.
I did my highest score ever. in like even juniors, I never got that many runs in one inning. So
what do you remember about that moment, about that day?
I probably remember my form leading up to that day, and it wasn't great.
Really?
Yeah, I was under enormous pressure. I remember getting a phone call from the coach, Mickey Arthur, at the time, saying he was in tears. Said, Michael, can I speak to you? And I said, mate, of course you can. So when you're in your home state, you have the option to stay at your house if you want. So on that occasion, I was staying at home. I wasn't staying at the team hotel. So I said to Mickey, I'll come and pick you up, come in my car and we'll drive to the ground together. And he'd received an email from the selectors. I won't go into which individual selector, but from the selectors pretty much saying, look, Michael's under pressure. He's not making any runs.
And you're captain.
And I was captain at the time, yeah. And even with that, why I speak so openly about that is because sometimes that's the truth. As much as it might be hard for you to hear as a player, if you're not performing, you're judged exactly the same, whether you're captain or not. And my form leading up to that test match wasn't great. So I think, the email was fair. Obviously, you'd like a bit more respect shown, or think the confidence that the selectors thinking he'll turn things around. But for some reason, they were worried about maybe the way I was getting out or things like that. So Mickey was, unsure how to tell me. I respect him a lot for having the courage to tell me. And obviously, that's in your mind when you walk out to bat. You're like, you're under pressure. You need to make runs. We bowled first, if I remember correctly. Bowled India out for not too many on the first day, and we had.
You only batted once because of what you did.
A bit of time to bat that first night. So the key was really to try and get through the rest of that night. I think I was batting at number 5, and we must have been 3 for not many, maybe 20. And I walked out to bat with Ricky Ponting. And my first 20 runs were horrible. Cover drives to square leg, whipping off the pads down to third man. And it was that feeling where you're not seeing the ball clearly, you're under pressure, you're out of form, so you just got to find a way to survive. And I think that was what I was saying to Ricky consistently as well. I was like, I know, I'm struggling, but I think for me to get myself out of this is I've got to show intent. I've got to play my natural game and back myself and take the opposition on. And I think I was about 30 odd not out at the end of play. So was Ricky. He might have been a few more than me. And then coming back the next day on day 2, I think I just released all fear of failure. I think I just accepted, you know what, just go and play the game you love. You're at the ground you love. That was the advantage of playing at the SCG. You could always invite family and friends. You didn't have to fly anywhere, and they could take time off work a little bit easier than travelling. So I just wanted to go and play. And that freedom sort of released the shackles, to be honest. And it just felt like a completely different day on day 2 batting wise versus the nerves and the fear of failure on day 1.
When you're in, what does it feel like for you? Is it like the ball is a beach ball and you can do no wrong? Do you feel invincible?
The sport never feels like that. And it never feels like you can't get out, put it that way. I think there is a significant difference when you're batting well versus when you're not. And I think it is. You are actually watching the ball so closely, you can see what side is shiny, what side is rough.
You can see that when it's coming at you 140 clicks.
You can see the seam at certain stages of the ball. You really focus in on that ball. And when you're not batting well, you generally focus on an area. It's like a big square or rectangle.
Think the ball's
coming.
Where
you're trying to get yourself into that position where you know that they're going to release the ball, but you're not watching it as closely as you are when you're batting well. So generally what that allows is more time. If you're watching it closely, nothing's rushed. You just got a fraction of a second more to make a decision, which is the difference between do I play at it, do I let it go, do I go forward, do I get back? Am I caught on the crease, do I stay inside the line? All these little things. So, that was probably the defining factor for me on day 2 versus day 1. I was watching the ball closer. My mind was obviously clearer. I was still at point of contact. And then you just try and let the game take its natural course. Every bowler's different. All of a sudden I was 100. I was 200. I think I was 240, had to come off and go back on the next day. And then when we sort of ended that day 2, everything become about, okay, how many runs are we on? How many runs do we need? How much time do we need to try and bowl India out?
Because we want to win.
We're only playing to win.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, a draw to me
and you
was...
were that kind of captain.
I didn't like... I accepted if we needed a draw, you have a draw, but you play to win and sometimes you lose. That was my style of captaining. So then we ended up batting for an amount of time that I thought to give us enough runs to then try and bowl India out and having enough time to bowl them out. Because if we were able to make that many runs on that wicket, mate, they had Sehwag, Dravid, Tendulkar, Laxman. Their team was phenomenal. Like, if we could make that many, I was thinking, well, how are we going to get India out? And thankfully we did. The boys bowled beautifully and we ended up winning that game. But it is special to have my highest score at the SCG. Like I say, it's my favourite ground because...
Like written in the stars sort
what
of
you
stuff.
want as a kid. You want to play in front of your family and friends and wear the baggy green. And
Well, let's talk about that, because
memories.
you're a kid from Liverpool. Like, the thought of the fact that your career would have taken the path that it did, it brings you to the SCG, like you said, in front of your friends and your family, putting on just a monumental score as well. Like, do you ever just sit and pinch yourself and think, my God, like, how crazy that my life panned out the way that it has?
I don't really know. Like, I think I owe the game so much. I think that's the truth. But I think when you're playing, you always want more. Like, you're always trying to get better every day. So you probably don't get the chance to enjoy the journey while you're doing it. When you retire, you look back and go, wow, like, so many amazing memories, winning games of cricket here in all three formats, Test cricket, one-day cricket. I think I captained my first game at, actually it might have been MCG. But I remember, like, even little things like that, like playing on the SCG at the first time, captaining on the SCG for the first time, making 100 on the like all the special things at the Sydney Cricket Ground that was extra special. And I actually think for a lot of my career, I got more nervous playing here than anywhere else. And it was because my family and friends were here.
Yeah, because is it worse for you when your friends and family aren't there? Because I know for me, I can perform in front of tens of thousands of strangers and it doesn't affect me. But if I know that Ben is there, my mum is there, my dad, or whatever it is, it's like it's an extra pressure of having your family there. Did you feel that?
It doesn't... You just want to do better. Like, you want to perform. Like, you're the only one putting a little bit more extra pressure on yourself. But of course, people are coming to watch you that sit there nervous. Like my mum wouldn't get up to go to the bathroom until a drinks break or a lunch break.
Oh, the cricket
she
fairy.
was so superstitious.
Cricket fairy is a thing. And you know what? Like, I think every family of a cricketer feels that, whether it's supporting your kid at club cricket, whether it's, under 10s or whatever it is, like, once you're in, you don't move. Doesn't matter how much you need to go to the bathroom, you sit where you're sitting, you don't move. So your family
My mum was like, my dad's not like that at all, but my mum was like that. So yeah, I know. It was...
Rohit's wife, Ritika, will not uncross her fingers when he's batting. And I saw it personally when both the boys played for Mumbai Indians for a couple of seasons when Ben was there, and you couldn't talk to her. She had her fingers crossed, and I love that. And I think as a partner of a player, it's so stressful.
Yeah, I think watching my daughter do anything, it's easier me playing than watching my daughter. I get more nervous for my daughter than I did for me.
You do.
You want your kids to do well. So yeah, look, so many great memories.
Do you remember your first match here at the SCG? So 2005 against Pakistan, or were you just so?
No,
oh my God, I can't believe this is happening.
My memory's not great at the best of the time. I remember walking on here for the first time. I think I was a 7-year-old boy. We had this, it was called the Milo Inter Cricket Program.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, I come as a young kid.
Like Woolworths Cricket Blast,
That's
but
exactly
our
right.
vintage.
Yeah. It was during the lunch break, and I think it was like Kanga Cricket was set up. Merv Hughes come and bowled to me during the lunch break. So
Big Mo.
Yeah, Big
Love
Mo.
it.
So I remember the first time walking out onto the ground, but there's a lot of games. I'd be lying if I said I remember it, but that's not, like I say, that's more maybe my old age, but my memory is not great with that stuff.
What about the fans? Like, I think the Richies. I just remember looking at this ground on TV, because I was from Cairns, so it took me till your test in 2011, 2012 to get to a game at the SCG myself, but it was iconic, and it's so beautiful to look at, the clock tower, everything. Do you remember all the Richies in the crowd?
Oh, you remember so
like
many things, I think I remember day-nighters here in one-day cricket felt like a nightclub. Like, the place was packed, everyone was drinking, and it was so loud. So sometimes, you're fielding and there's not much going on, especially if you're fielding on the boundary as a youngster. But you turn around and it's just party scene everywhere. So I think for that, and one-day cricket then was huge as well. It was before 2020 cricket started. So yeah, I think there's a million different things. When people bring it up, it sticks in your mind. The Richies, again, they'd take out
everywhere.
the whole stand. Yeah, it was like I used to have. There was one. I ended up doing a deal with the SCG where I had to do a certain amount of appearances. I can't remember exactly what it was, and all I asked for in return was a corporate box no food or alcohol. Sorry, mum and dad, but for my family and my friends. So I think I could fit maybe 12 people in the box, but they gave them the same box every single year. Really? So when I walked out onto the ground, as packed as it might have been, I remembered, I knew exactly where they were sitting. So even that, little things like that stick in my mind and were, that you knew. Fielding, batting, make a 50, make 100. I knew I could raise my bat and see your family and friends sitting in that area. So, very special memories.
Love that. Well, travelling families, travelling fans, just to take a little break for a short second, you and I are actually travelling very shortly. We're heading over to Hong Kong for the Hong Kong Sixers.
We are.
Now, we're going to China, which means you do know that your phone's not going to work as it normally does.
I don't know.
You're not going to get your FaceTime. You're not going to get your Instagram.
I understand that, but I'm like, I've said to you before, I said, hang on a second. So how do I watch the cricket while I'm in Hong Kong?
Or call your family. You need a VPN and you need NordVPN. Tell me you know what NordVPN is.
I know NordVPN. Now, firstly, I won't know how to set it up. You'll have to set it up on my phone. But if I don't have that, I can't watch my favourite Netflix, for example.
No, I can't help you. No, if it's available in Australia and not available anywhere else in the world, you can't watch it.
Oh, this is brilliant.
Yeah, so basically what you need is NordVPN on all of your devices to make sure that you can stay in touch with home as easily as possible. Stream the cricket, call home, stay up to date.
Yep.
You do need it.
It'll save my life. FaceTime the daughter,
We'll save you from
Netflix
Kelsey
and watch
Lee.
cricket. I know, yeah. I can't afford to miss a day with my daughter. So what a saviour.
It is an absolute saviour. It's really easy to use. And also, considering how much flying we're going to be doing with our Ashes tour, did you know you can actually save money on booking your flights using NordVPN?
There you go. Learn something new every day.
Literally, all you have to do is log into another country, check out the prices. I bet they'll be a little bit cheaper than what you'll find at home. So it's an absolute saviour. All you have to do is change your location and purchase your flights. But here at Beyond 23, we want to make sure that you all experience the NordVPN difference. All you have to do is go to nordvpn.com/Beyond23. They'll link to give you 4 extra months on the 2-year plan. Music to our ears.
Love this.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely awesome. There's no risk with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. So again, make sure you stay connected, pup. I want to make sure that Kelsey Lee doesn't make sure that you're cut out of the
If I miss one, if I miss a
band.
FaceTime, I'm always in trouble. So NordVPN looking after me, bring it on.
Oh, we love you. Thank you for making this podcast possible today. Looking forward to staying connected no matter where we are in the world. And, speaking about where we are in the world and all of the different players that you played here at the SCG against, are there any particular battles that kind of, come to mind for you when you think of, all the content? Oh, maybe it's at a state level as well. Obviously, you play for New South Wales, so much time spent here at the SCG, but even though I know you say you don't have the best memory, what does stick out for you? What's the first thought when you walk back into this stadium?
I think state cricket was tough. When I started, a lot of the international players were playing state cricket, a lot of state cricket. So that was your foundation to be prepared if you'd got selected for Australia. So I think playing for New South Wales, and again, this ground was one of the wickets that always spun. So a lot of people spoke through my career about, the way I played spin bowling, and it was because of this pitch out here, or these pitches out here, the SCG, that I learnt to face spin bowling. So even, if I think about my very first class game here was against India. They had Harbhajan Singh, Anil Kumble. So I was facing them in the lead up for them before they started playing against Australia. They come and played New South Wales. Facing Murali out here on this wicket, very tough. Shuey McGill was my teammate for New South Wales and Australia. Facing him at training in the nets and then watching him bowl out here. I think facing spin bowling and seeing spinners bowl out on this pitch was something I always loved. Yeah. This wicket's changed a little bit. It used to be very dry to start, and day 3, 4, 5 it would spin, but they leave a bit more grass on now. But there's nothing better than the memories of winning at the SCG. The wine cellar is actually underneath where we sit.
Shocking that you know where that is.
So what we used to do is you'd come into the change room, boys would have beers, crowd would slowly disappear. We would stay in here for hours. Yeah. And the guys downstairs in the wine cellar, when we were ready, and a lot of people had gone, you'd bang your bat or the stump on the change room on the floor, and the boys from the cellar would come up and they'd bring bottles of champagne, they'd bring whatever you want. So
that is
celebrating
awesome.
at the SCG was better than
Okay.
Any nightclub, any bar in the world.
Well, I know where I'm going as soon as this podcast is over, but
when I'm jumping on the floor, you know why.
you rightly mentioned, one, celebrating, two, how successful spin was at this venue.
Yeah.
So we have to talk about the fact that the late great king of spin, Shane Warne, retired here in 2007, played his final test match. He took 700 plus wickets. Yeah. Do you remember anything about that celebration, or was there too much Mr. Wine cellar downstairs?
I'm lying if I say I remember the celebration because there's a lot of alcohol drunk that night. When Warnie's involved, there's always alcohol.
Shocking.
Glenn McGrath, Justin Langer and Shane Warne, all three retired on that day. So as special as that was, it was devastating for the rest of us as teammates.
A hole in the side.
Try and go on tour. After you've been on tour with Warnie, try and go on tour without him. It's like 5 players are missing. Yeah. He just brought so much energy to every single team he was in, on the field, off the field. You just missed him being around. So Glenn McGrath, what an absolute superstar he was as a player. Him and Warnie as a combination was the best I ever saw. And like I say, Justin Langer, Lang's record was underrated. Yeah. Opened the batting, average over 40, played over 100 test matches, was leader of the team song at a certain stage. So Lang's importance in the team was just as big as any. So to lose 3 greats of the game, but 3 big, strong characters left a huge hole in our team that I think took us years to be able to
recover.
Yeah, you don't really replace those players, but it is. You recover, and guys come in and take a bit of time and get used to it, and sort of that was a big transition for us that, like I say, took a fair bit of time to get back to where we wanted to be.
I mean, so many incredible memories. You've got your 329, you've got Ashes wins, Test hundreds. Are there any moments that really invoke those goosebumps, like that feeling of like, oh.
Look, I think the hard thing for me walking onto this ground is it's where Philippe passed away, where Phillip Hughes passed away. So I think, you know, the great memories are always there, but it feels different. You know, after we come back to, you know, I was training. I was actually, if I remember correctly, I was doing rehab and recovery the day Phil passed away. So South Australia were playing New South Wales here, and I was doing my stuff over the road because I couldn't get on the ground where the Swans train. As I finished my stuff, I walked past the ground because my car was in the members' car park, and I popped my head in just to see, is South Australia batting? Is New South Wales batting? What's the score? And Hughesy was on, might have been 30 not out of whatever it was. So I was like, oh, awesome. Get home, shower change, come back, and I can, again, I want New South Wales to beat South Australia, but when your little mate's batting, you're like, hope he makes 100. And I was under pressure in regards to trying to be fit for that first test. So I believed if I didn't come up, I knew who was going to take my spot, and it was Hughesy. So you're sort of, you know, I was hoping he did make runs just to sort of 100% lock that in. So, you know, getting back home, I was actually in the shower at the time, got out, and then had a number of missed calls by a mate of mine saying, mate, you've got to come. Hughesy just been hit. You've got to get to the hospital. Yeah. So, you know, that's the hard part now in a ground that means so much.
And for those
still
who
has
don't,
a horrible memory, you know.
Yeah, for those who don't already know, the relationship between you two, you'd known him for such a long time. Like you said, he was like a little brother to you in many ways. You just talk to us about, I suppose, the relationship and how it blossomed, and you know why he was such a big part of your life.
Well, I think it started. He come from the country and played at my grade club at Western Suburbs. So we played for the same club team. We played for New South Wales together, and then obviously played for Australia together. I think we always had and we had the same batting coach in Neil DaCosta. So we were training together as well. So I think there was always that mutual respect and friendship. Hughesy was a country boy who loved all the good things in life, and I think I did. I saw him as a little brother. Until I started captaining Australia, because then he was playing and I was the captain, so I had to be really careful the perception of that as well, because again, it's you're making decisions regularly on what's best for the team. You didn't want it to be personal, so I was as disciplined as I could be, just for everybody else to know, you know, there's no favourites here.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had a really good connection, a great friendship, great honest friendship. You know, some tough days. I had to go to his room in England and tell him he'd been dropped. But then I celebrate, you know, his success like probably more than I celebrated my own. So yeah, it was a beautiful friendship. He's got a lovely family. And like I say, devastating when he passed away, like so many were. Talk about him all the time, certainly not forgotten, never will be. And like I say, every time you turn up to this ground now, unfortunately, that's the hard part. There's a memory that you wish did not exist, but I think for me, it's about respecting that as well. Like I say, every time I come here, it brings up memories, and what I've tried to create for me is all my memories with Philip are as positive as any memory I have in my life.
Yeah, what an impact he had in the short life that unfortunately he was given, and just seeing what happened recently as well with the youngster Ben Austin, the 17-year-old, it changes the game, and I think it was with such heavy hearts we pay our condolences to his family and everyone that was connected with him. It changed the game for a long time after what happened with Phil as well. I know fast bowlers rethought the way that they attacked their game and what they did, and I think you forget sometimes that cricket is a contact sport in many ways. Like, you're bowling a ball at 140, 150 k's an hour that can really cause a lot of damage. It's dangerous.
Well, sometimes it's not even about the speed. It's just and certainly in Philip's case, it was where he was hit. But the only, and again, the time needs to be right for this conversation. Is like you said with Ben passing, his family's asked for privacy and respect to try and deal with such a devastating loss, and they certainly should get that. And I mean, from media, from people like us that have the opportunity to talk about it. I would like to see when Philip passed away, they brought out they're like, I think we call them like ear guards, but
extra guard
it's
on
for the back
helmet.
of the neck.
Yep.
And I'm pretty sure it's compulsory at the highest level for everyone to wear them internationally, but I know they're still being sold separately to the helmet. I would love to see it connected to the helmet. I think Gray Nichols, the way they do their grill, they might have that connected, but I just think it needs to be connected to the helmet. It needs to be compulsory for everyone. Whenever you play at whatever age, if you're wearing that, because like I say, I think people have mistaken the speed of the ball is what does the damage. It's not necessarily the case. It's where you get hit. Yeah. So, these ear guards protect that area where, Philip was hit. And again, I haven't spoken to anybody in regards to what happened with Ben, but from what I've heard, it sounds like a very similar accident. And that's 100% what they both are, accidents, but we can't afford to have any more accidents like this. If we've got an opportunity to prevent it, let's prevent it. So that would be the one thing I'd love to. I love that we've got these ear guards after Philip's passing. It shows we've tried to do something. But I think they've got to be compulsory. They've got to be attached to their helmet. There's no excuse not to wear them. Just think, one life's too many to lose. So, and again, at the right time, I hope these conversations happen, and maybe now's not the right time, but that's the one thing I'd certainly like to see compulsory with protective equipment when we've got it there. Why not use it?
What do you remember of that time, and how do you shelve your personal life and what you're going through?
Oh, you don't. You don't. I think, that game also ripped my hamstring off the bone as well. So it was a wow of a game.
Oh my gosh.
Look, I honestly, from that game, I think I have so much respect for India allowing us to take time after Philip passed and postpone that test match to give everyone a bit more time to try and understand and deal with what had happened. I think we made the right decision going back out onto the field. I think the game had to move on. I think Philip would have wanted that, and it was important that we took that step as an Australian cricket team, because I think when you play for Australia, you're the shop front window, and I wanted young boys and young girls to go and play cricket on Saturday. It had to start again, so I think that was important. We did that. Batting-wise, it felt a bit numb, to be honest. Like, you don't really feel too much. You're in an emotional state, but you've got a job to do. So that's one of the challenges, I guess, playing sport at the highest level. You've got to try your best to leave stuff off the field when you walk out onto it. You're still playing for your country. You're still trying to win the game. It was a bit like that. It was about trying to score runs to help the team win. But then, the feeling when you made 50 or 100, of course, it was nowhere near as special and one that I didn't think needed to be celebrated, But yeah, that stuff's not easy. That stuff's very hard to be able to somehow put it to the side for a moment, or don't feel the emotion or the sadness. Walking
it's
back
different
out.
for everyone, right? And grief is different on every day that you
just
feel
do your
it.
best.
Yeah.
That's what it never leaves you. I think about him every day. You try and manage it as well as you can. And some days are tougher than others. Some days are sadder than others. His anniversary of when he passes every year is tough. His birthday is very tough. But I think for me, it's about trying to find the positives, because he left so many positives in my mind. So they're not hard to find. But in days where it feels a bit tougher than others, that's what I try and do.
And just before we do finish up here on that beautiful note, and his presence is ever present here. There's a plaque of him as soon as you walk into this room, of his beautiful face. And Michael Clarke, the SCG, such an integral part of your journey as a cricketer. What's something about this place that you feel that means something to you that perhaps wouldn't be apparent to the average person?
You know what I love that we do? I used to love it every year playing here. Was the McGrath Day. Yes. The whole ground turned pink.
Yes.
Look, Glenn McGrath is one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet in your life, and what he has done to pay that respect to Jane has just been phenomenal. Jane was a star as well, but when you walk out, when you come as a fan on McGrath Day, you can see it's pink. When you look around, when you walk out to bat or field and you turn around and see the whole stadium pink on your shirt, it's changed day 3 at the SCG.
What a vibe.
I think it's the most special day of the year now. Boxing Day is obviously huge in Melbourne and very special. I reckon Jane McGrath Day was the most special day of the year. Once Pidge got that up and going, and what they've done to grow that. And even the fans, like everyone's wearing pink hat or pink suit shirt, or people turn up in full pink suits and pink ties. So I just think it's got a lot of momentum. It's for an amazing cause. They do a great job, and couldn't be led by a better person than Glenn McGrath. So that day, I think, become the most special day in the calendar year for me.
Couldn't agree more. So book your tickets now, hey, and book your tickets to Beyond 23 live Ashes shows. That's all we have time for on the episode at the moment. Michael Clarke, we've got so much still to discuss about what we're doing for the show. So we're going to finish up here, but please make sure you like, subscribe, get involved at Beyond 23. Make sure you send this to someone, send it to a friend.
Why not?
Maybe someone that is an absolute cricket nuff who'd love a few little inside gems about just why the SCG was such a special venue, particularly to the iconic Michael Clarke. Clarke, thanks so much for your time, as always, guys. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.